G'day, this is Terry Roach from Capsifi with the first episode in our series on enterprise operating models. Today, I'm going to discuss the concept of the operating model, what it is, and why it's important. One of the first things we like to ask when we meet a client for the first time is, where does your operating model live today? That can be quite a confronting question, since most organizations don't actually think of their operating model as a tangible thing. And why would they need one? Well, if you don't have a holistic, consolidated view of how you operate, how could you possibly know how well you're performing, how you could optimize things, and how you identify where the bottlenecks are? For over a decade now, we've been pouring money into transformation initiatives that actually haven't been going that well, according to almost any analyst report on the subject. When we say transformation, what is it that we're actually transforming, if not the operating model? And if we don't have a shared agreement on a collective conceptualization of how we operate, how could we possibly hope to transform? People don't tend to think of their operating model as an asset. They don't have a consolidated shared conceptualization of what they do. Instead, what they do have are loads of fragmented, disconnected, out-of-date, static content, often generated on the back of the last project, that's aging and at very different levels of abstraction. That makes it really difficult to get a holistic understanding of how to optimize or transform a business. Every time we have a new initiative, we end up spending up to 20% of our transformation budget on what we call business archaeology, just trying to understand what that part of the business does. Business architects are the custodians of the operating model, and it's their job to consolidate, align, and connect all the fragmented operational knowledge into a holistic representation of what the business does. The goal is to establish the operating model as a tangible, enduring, interactive, incrementally evolving, dynamic, and engaging asset. That was the vision we had in mind when we set out to create Capsifi. We asked ourselves, if you want to build a holistic model of a business, what would be all the things you need to consider and how do they fit together? That was the original academic thesis that got us into the world of ontology, and it now forms the core intellectual property in our platform. The result is a semantically aligned enterprise ontology, a conceptual map of how all enterprise knowledge is connected. It contains around 240 classes representing different conceptual objects in an enterprise domain. Each object has a wealth of extendable metadata attributes and semantic relationships that create a web of connectedness between all enterprise knowledge. The ontology is our metamodel, and it is robust, comprehensive, flexible, and extendable. It sits at the back end of our MVC technology stack on a semantic triple store. The middle layer contains the queries that pull the threads on the graph, and it has been architected as a microservices architecture, facilitating a catalog of bidirectional APIs in our open API framework, allowing us to play the data where it lies, connecting into third-party repositories. Query payloads are passed to the front end, which is made up of engaging role-based business canvases, so that each business stakeholder receives their own unique contextual window into the operating model. So what then does a business operating model look like? It's quite bizarre, actually, that despite all the many esoteric, technology-oriented enterprise architecture frameworks that exist, as a practice, we do not actually have a universally accepted mental model for an operating model. So here's ours. It all starts with your business capabilities, the building blocks of the business operation. A capability map is a comprehensive hierarchical decomposition of everything that you do in your business. It creates a very useful structure for explaining what you do and how to align your resources to operate your business. Typically, it's viewed as a map of boxes within boxes going down at least 3 or 4 levels. Unfortunately, many business people can find this a bit abstract and have difficulty really identifying with these maps in this form. So to put it all in a much more meaningful context, we use value streams as a scaffold for arranging the capabilities. Value streams are very simple structures that just represent the principal stages you go through in the various stakeholder interactions across the business. Both capability maps and value streams are quite generic within an industry, and an industry reference model can go a long way in giving you a great starting point. Capsifi AI Copilot can actually generate a highly contextual reference model for your business based on a set of user-defined parameters. So the capabilities hanging off of these value stream stages are still, however, somewhat abstract. But actually, they just serve as anchor points for the more tangible operating model elements of people, process, information, and technology. As you can now see, in an interactive tool, all of these threads of information are present in this simple canvas and can be dynamically explored. For example, one of the first things we might want to do is to conduct a maturity assessment of a value stream to identify how well it's performing. This allows us to clearly identify where we have potential bottlenecks across these journeys and sets us in the right direction towards prioritizing our transformation scope. Next time, we'll explore how the operating model is the bridge between strategy and execution, helping you de-risk your transformation initiatives by prioritizing investments where they will deliver the most value. Thanks for watching.